This is Students on Sport. Hi there everyone, my name's Kieran from Students on Sport, and today I have the real privilege to be joined by European Cup winner and Manchester United legend Alex Stepney. How are you, Alex?
I'm very well, thank you. Yeah, it's knuckled down and it's still
yeah, let's get into
through everything.
So Alex, I think we'll start from the beginning. Can you tell us how you got into football?
Well, I think going back to when I was a young kid at school back in the 50s. You wanted to play. You wanted to play for professional. You wanted to play at Wembley. That was the main thing: playing at Wembley and playing for your country. And obviously, everybody has that dream. Never thinking it's going to happen, but obviously, it took a time for me. Actually, I didn't make turn professional until I was nearly 21, but I had to work my way into it, and eventually got there. So. I played amateur football and I played for my youth club and things like that, and my school team. But I just always missed out on. You see, back then, most professional clubs wanted schoolboy internationals or sort of how can I say, the English, Scotland, Ireland, and Welsh schoolboys. Obviously, Manchester boys, London boys, county teams. If you played for them, well, I was always reserved. I was reserved for Surrey schools and reserved for London schools because I lived on the border. And in those days, there was no substitutes, so I never played. So I missed out on what the apprenticeship, because you couldn't join a professional football club until you were 15.
Yeah.
And that was it. So I had to go to work, played amateur football, done well at amateur football, made me grade up way up to nearly being a sort of amateur international, a team called Tooting and Mitchell. And then the break came, actually, because it was a bad winter, and Millwall, they basically had 2 months to catch up because it was a bad winter in '63. What happened was they wanted their goalkeeper.
Yeah.
So I played in their reserves for about 8 games. They finished runners-up in the football combination, football combination. And asked me to turn pro, so I took my chance.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah, exactly. Did you always want to be a goalkeeper? Was that always on your mind?
Yeah. I think it's like everything else. When you're a kid and you go to school and you come back and you play on the park with your mates, put the coach down as goalpost, and I just sort of, I played out, but I enjoy playing goal, because we sort of rotated, and that's how it took off for my school teams.
Yeah. So you moved to the Reds in '66. As you said, you were at Millwall for a 3-year period, and then you were at Chelsea for a short period of time. At the time, what was so attractive about Manchester United?
Well, I didn't know anything about it really, apart from because I wasn't told I was going to Manchester United. The thing was, when I was at Millwall, I won 323 caps and under Alf Ramsey in '66 and the '65-66 season. And of course, there was always rumours that I was going to move on to a higher grade. And anyway, it eventually turned out I went to Chelsea because the deal with West Ham was going to go through. I was going to go to West Ham, but obviously Millwall and West Ham didn't get on. So that didn't work. And I finished up at Chelsea. But Peter Belletti was the goalkeeper there. He was in the World Cup squad in '66 at that time, because this was May '66. And obviously, he fallen out with Tommy Docherty. Tommy Docherty was the manager at Chelsea, and he basically said, "Look, you signed because Peter is going to go to West Ham because that was." And I thought, well, that's fair enough. And anyway, cut long story short, the chairman at Chelsea sadly passed away after I signed 2 days earlier. New chairman come in and said Peter Belletti's not going. So that was the situation. But I played one game for Chelsea.
How did you play a game? Yeah.
I played one game. I think it was about the 4th game of the season. I think Peter got injured, and down at Southampton we won 3-0. And then on the Monday morning, Matt Busby coming for me. So although I left Chelsea, I still hold the record there. I'm the only goalkeeper to play for him and never let a goal in. So.
100% clean sheet record. Yeah. We'll put that's one for the history books.
Yeah.
So you played under the manager of Manchester United, Sir Matt Busby, arguably one of the greatest managers of all time. What was he like as a person?
Well, he was he was just unbelievable. He was like your father, your grandfather. He looked after he looked after everybody individually and you know, and training with the team. And it was just him and Jimmy Murphy. I mean, they had a great relationship with each and every one of us. And I think that sort of made the team spirit. But don't forget, you know, even when I joined in '66, that was 8 years after Munich. And, you know, that was a very sad occasion. I mean, I remember that, you know, coming home from school. But the actual thing about it was, you know, when you play with the great players that I joined, it made me a better player.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, although you're a goalkeeper, I found that whatever level I played, the higher you got, the game became quicker, but it became easier because you're playing with players who want the ball, who know everything that's going on. So that made me a better player myself.
Yeah,
and because Matt Busby, you know, he was just a diamond. He was absolute. Honestly, he never swore. He just, you know, he never swore. Wow. No, he never swore. He let you use your talent.
Yeah,
and that was the thing, you know.
Was he quite a calm person in the dressing room then?
Oh yeah. He always come and shook your hand before you went out. Half time when you come in, half time when he went out again, and after the game. Don't matter how you played. And if he wanted to say something to you, he would have you in his office. And not many times did players go into his office, I'll tell you that now, because he respected you and you knew yourself how you were playing and how the team was playing. So, but we were very successful in those days, so that does help.
Well, that leads me to my next question: is throughout your 8-year spell with the Reds, you had the privilege of not just playing in a European Cup final, you actually won it. Can you tell me about that European night? Just how special was it?
Yeah, I mean, I think like everything else, you know, in the back of every player, we never spoke about Munich. No one ever spoke about Munich. That was a bit of not a surprise, but I wondered when I joined, did anybody mention it? And no one did. No one did. And I think in everybody's mind individually, it was there, you know, that. You know, these fantastic players who would have won it 3 or 4 times. There's no two ways about that. Who passed away in that air crash. I think, you know, we done it for them. When the final whistle went after winning it at 4-1 in extra time, it's amazing that, I mean, subconsciously every one of us went to Bill Fawkes, Bobby Charlton, and Matt Busby. Yeah, you know, the 3 survivors. And it was. I mean, who put us there? Who put us in the final? Bill Fawkes scored in Madrid when we looked as though we were out of it, you know, to put us into the final. And Bobby Charlton was captain. Unfortunately, Dennis was injured, Dennis Law. But playing in that team, you know, you've got to say, not many players can say they played with 3 European footballers of the year for like 7 years.
Yeah, it's amazing, really amazing. Well, moving on to yourself now, an iconic moment from that final was your save at 1-1 with Eusebio. Yeah. How just did it feel when you saw him bearing down on the goal, knowing that he's one of the most prolific goal scorers of all time?
Yeah, it was something that, you know, it's very hard to look back on, but I can remember. All I remember was when the ball was played through, because don't forget, back then, not many games were played at Wembley. You only had, you know, schoolboy internationals, amateur cup final, international games, and FA Cup finals. They're the only games that were basically played at Wembley, and the turf was lush. Now, obviously, in our time playing back in those days, the pitches weren't lush, not like they are today. And when the ball was played through, I've got to say that I thought it was probably a 55-45 ball for me, because he sort of got away. It was a great ball put through, I think, by Tony Simoes, I think. And what happened was Bill Fawkes Nobby was supposed to be marking him, but Nobby had lost him. And of course, Tony Dunn was trying to get there. Shea was trying to get to him. And I'd come off me line. I just stepped off my line. My 6-yard box, that was 6-yard box, but a yard, because I thought I was going to go and get it, you know, and dive at his feet. But the ball slowed up. And my first reaction was, I've got to go back and come forward. So I stepped back and went forward because I knew that he wanted to burst the back of the net. And when someone's going to do that, I don't think they've got the control, but he really smashed it.
Yeah.
Because it stuck in my chest. It actually knocked me over. That's how powerful it was. But it stuck, and that was it. And my thoughts were at the time, well, I've got to try and start a counter-attack, because directly I got the ball, Tony Dunn, which we always did, fullbacks, when I got the ball, off they went, to start a counter-attack. So I threw the ball to Tony Dunn. And that was like 4 minutes from the end, I think.
Yeah, but during that moment, he actually applauded you. Did you know?
Yeah, but I didn't see that.
Yeah.
No, I didn't see that, because my main concern when I got the ball, Tony had off he'd gone. My main thing was to make sure the ball was thrown to him in front of him so he could go on and start a counter attack, because Johnny Aston was having a great game at left wing anyway. And as I turned, he was sort of just half and half going away, so I missed that bit.
Oh wow! Well, I bet it's a nice thing to look back on, anyway.
Oh yeah, I mean, well, obviously he's not with us anymore, but I mean, we spoke about it when we met, because we met on a few occasions, afterwards.
Yeah, that's amazing. Like you saying before, you played with three, arguably, probably I'd say the greatest United players of all time, Best, Law, and Charlton. Who do you think out of the three was the best, in your opinion?
Well, to say they're the best, I mean, there were three forwards, but they all were three forwards in different positions. You see, I mean, Dennis was a poacher. Dennis was the ideal poacher. From the penalty spot into the 6-yard box, anything that dropped anywhere, he was on it. He was a great header of the ball, fantastic. I mean, that was Dennis's player. Dennis as a player. I mean, Bobby. But what was Bobby done? I mean, he was Mr. Football, wasn't he? A gentleman who would score goals from 25 yards with rocket shots and beat players, and great. Well, even the goal, his fourth goal in the final was an incredible goal on the half volley. That was Bobby. But George, different sort of player. I mean, George would beat 5 or 6 players and go back and try and beat them again, and put the ball in the back of it. I mean, he scored goals, right foot, left foot, headed the ball as well. I mean, he was a genius. But in saying that, going back to Matt Busby, he allowed him to do what he wanted to do. That was his talent. And in sort of team meetings, it was never, you've got to do this, George, you've got to do that. Just go and play the way you want to play it. And
he was that good that he could go out and play. Yeah.
But that was the way Busby allowed you to play. We had man management on the pitch. Each player had his own job and man managed the team to try and go out and win the games and score goals, of course.
Yeah, and I know you touched on it earlier before, but it must have been hard for you in training with 3 caliber players of that. What did they teach you? Did they progress you as a player? No,
I think that in those days, you don't. We never had goalkeeper coaches. We never had anything like that. We trained the same as the first team in respect of running and doing all the the sort of physical work as well in the gym, not in the gym, outside on weights and things like that and running. But when that finished, that session finished, the trainer always used to, you'd have shooting practice and things with, and then at the same time, that was how it was. Your body gets used to that. I mean, we had no gloves. Well, we did gloves, but nothing like you got today. But when the balls were heavier anyway. But your body gets used to that, and that was the way it was. I mean, the only thing that we would do probably on during the week. Some of us, when we were trained at the Cliff, we used to go back in the afternoons because we only used to train from 10 to 12, in the afternoon, we probably going to have a sandwich or a salad or something, and go back in the afternoon. I mean, David Sadler and Bobby and Dennis and George and Nobby, we'd all go back and just do things amongst ourselves. That was your camaraderie in your team, your teammates.
Yeah, that's incredible. Moving on to your later years in your playing career now. I know you did move to the States in 78, moved to Dallas. Have you got any fond memories of your time there?
Oh yeah, I mean it was a different scenario really, because the American game, the way the Americans do things is completely different. And they didn't know much about soccer as it was. I mean, it had been going about 10 years, I think, but hadn't really sort of stepped up to the way they wanted it. But when I joined, there was 24 teams, and they had players. I mean, Eusebio was there, Cruyff, everyone was there, Beckenbauer, everyone was playing over there, because we were in that era. And it was great to go and play these. Well, America was really just on the front of the holiday sort of list, wasn't it? Florida and places like that. And we went over there and we saw all of America and Canada, and thoroughly enjoyed it. They looked after us. They knew how to look after us. But I mean, going up to the games and the way you had to do certain things before the game, where the Americans stand there and sing the American anthem and things like that. But great tassels. And funny enough, I mean, one of my teammates when I first went in the first season was Tony Simoes, who I played against in the final.
Oh, okay. Wow. Yeah. So I feel like I'll just ask one more question. What was your favourite ever game in a United shirt? I'm pretty sure I might know what it is, but.
Well, I think really, obviously, there's so many, because I mean, we won the league, in my first season. I mean, my first game was against City. My very first game for United against City at Old Trafford, and we won 1-0. But I mean, we won the league at West Ham. I mean, not many people, that never really comes up. But we won it 6-1. We won 6-1 at West Ham to win the league. I mean, fantastic. And then, of course, obviously, the European Cup final, I mean, was obviously the moment that everybody, even our team and myself, it was the highlight of my career, really, apart from, obviously, you want to play internationally. I was always in squads, but I never got to get, because there was the great Gordon Banks was in front of me and people like that. But and then, of course, to top it all, to win the FA Cup in '77, that was, I go back to when I started, a boyhood dream, winning the FA Cup at Wembley.
Yeah.
And to win it and to beat Liverpool and stop them winning the treble wasn't so bad, was it?
Not too bad at all. Well, Alex, it's been a pleasure speaking to you.
Okay, Kieran.
I hope you're keeping well.
I will do.
And I appreciate your time. So that's all we've got for today. Thank you, everyone, for watching, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Okay.
This is Students on Sport.